G'day there guys, greatest achievement in life is making you smile? Do it? It's your main man Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the A-hole. Now if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to bloody sit back and bloody relax because it's going to be a bloody good time. Thank you. Posted by user RightJack77, titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my sister to stop using the word family on me like it's supposed to mean something? As stated in a prior post, I was kicked out at 15 for being gay. From 15 to 35, I had no contact with my family. Over the years, they have somehow managed to work their way back into my life, only in a small capacity. My sister, who was younger than me, called earlier and asked what me and my husband were doing for Thanksgiving. I told her that it was just us and that we were just going to have a nice dinner and probably watch TV for the night, and go to bed early. She told me that she was having dinner and that we need to show up. I told her thank you, but this was the first set of holidays in 10 years that I didn't have to host, and I was planning on staying home and just putting on a fresh pair of pajamas after a shower and not going anywhere. She then asked about Christmas, and I told her the same thing. She then asked when it would be a good time to get together, and I told her point blank I wasn't at all interested given our history, and that I was perfectly happy with how things were at this point. This was when she got pissed off and started to yell at me, saying that I need to start acting more a part of a family and that I need to let go of the past. She told me that we as a family need to try and bridge the gap and move forward in a positive way. I told her no we don't. We hardly know each other. We are very much strangers. I also told her that she needs to stop throwing the word family around like it's supposed to mean something to me. When we started to talk again, when I was 35, when our dad died, her and my brother constantly berated me and told me that I just need to let them deal with everything that needed to be done. I never disagreed with them. I told them that they could handle it. I was berated when our mother was sick for not visiting her in the hospital or when she was home. I really don't have much of a relationship with my mum, and she's a pretty good stranger as well, so it didn't really matter. I threw everything back in her face. Before we hung up, she reminded me that it wasn't my husband's blood that runs through my body, and blood is thicker than water. I told her no, my husband's blood did not in fact run through my body. But his semen did, and that was close enough. I thought my husband was going to wet his pants. So am I the a-hole for telling my sister to stop using the word family like it means something? Oh my god, that is a burn and a half right there. Good on you, OP, for standing up and having the balls to throw your husband's balls in her face, and probably your own too. Genuinely really liked that line, that was funny, and it caught me off guard. Judging the entire backstory you've provided here, I can safely say that my ball is indeed in your court. Giggity. You were treated terribly by your entire family on the basis of your fascination for the opposite sex and nothing else. Like, I do wonder if they would have the same hang-ups about you if you were to be with a woman, but we'll never know that, it would seem. This whole blood is thicker than water is a load of baloney most of the time, and as is repeated here all too often, you guys, family is what you make it, and I agree with that sentiment. These people may be related, but it's clear you don't view them as family. Like, I agree with you then that she should stop using it like it means something since you've clearly made your position and feelings known. And for that, I've got to say not the a-hole. I'm genuinely surprised you haven't gone no contact, but the world is full of surprises these days, isn't it? Now in the comments, Sunlit Fable says, not the a-hole. I feel like it would interest her to know the real saying, the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. Bonds formed by choice run deeper than those by relation. Edit to add, this is apparently not actually the true saying. My apologies for the misinformation. Thank you for the commenters who let me know that I was wrong. And yeah, this guy is just clearing that up, saying, that's not like the real version of the quote, FYI. The original quote is the one we're all used to, with the meaning that blood relationships are more important than other ones. The Blood of the Covenant version was just made up a couple years ago, seemingly out of nowhere. Much better meaning, of course, but it isn't the real saying at all. Neither is that one, technically. There isn't any definitive timeline about which saying predates the other, so ultimately they are both correct and incorrect. Welcome to Schrodinger's phrase. Well, okay, there's never definitive proof that a phrase didn't exist before a certain time, but we have the phrase blood is thicker than water documented from at least the 1700s in writing, with the meaning that familial ties supersede other relationships, or possibly distance, like familial ties persist even across bodies of water, that is, across the ocean or whatever, while the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, was not written down anywhere until a couple of years ago. Gallagherin says, not the a-hole. The last paragraph made me bust out laughing. No, you're not the a-hole. She lost the ability to call you family when she abandoned you with the rest of them. Literally laughing out loud at that last paragraph. You're not the a-hole, enjoy your pajama Thanksgiving. Frankly, it's the best way to spend the holidays. You and your sailor husband. What? OP said he was a seaman. Oh, welcome to my House of Misfit Toys holiday table any old time. And Adilla Bean says, not the a-hole. I hate when people use family to manipulate people into doing what they want. Family means nothing without the actions to back it up. Kicking a kid out at 15 is pretty unforgivable if you ask me, so you owe them literally nothing. Well done for standing up for yourself, and I'm howling at your final line. So good. And OP adds an edit to the post. Good morning, everyone. I hope that you're all having a great day. First, I wanted to say thank you all for your responses, awards, and everything else in between. This has been completely insane. I never thought this would go so far. I've tried to read every single response, but there are so many that it'll take hours to get through them all. I wanted to do this edit to fill in some blanks, so to speak. When I was kicked out, I was 15 and my sister was 8. So she did not have anything to do with what happened. But she had every opportunity to find me after a certain point. When she was 16 and had her own car, she could have come found me. When she was 18 and on her own, she could have come to find me. She never did. When our dad died, it was a friend of mine who talked me into going so that I could maybe find some kind of peace with what happened all those years ago. She and another friend went with. My husband, boyfriend at the time, had to work and couldn't get the time off. Initially, I was greeted with surprise and thank you for coming, but then with hostility from my sister and my brother. If they for a minute thought I was out to get something from them or our dad's estate, they were wrong. I wanted nothing, and to this day I still don't. My siblings have always told me what my place in the family is, which is basically, I'm window dressing. I have been told that I have no business in knowing anything about the family finances, family affairs, or anything. I think that they're afraid that I could potentially take something that they want or are supposed to get. A couple of weeks ago, my mum asked me to read over some financial paperwork that she didn't understand. Reluctantly, I agreed, but once my sister found out, she screamed at me for putting my nose into areas that I don't belong. I told my mum not to ask me for anything again because I will not be involved. I've been asked a few times why I do keep in contact with them. The answer is because it's my way of keeping ahead of them. I do not voluntarily make contact with them. I have no reason to. I keep my Facebook locked down to the point that I don't show my city, my job, my phone number, nothing. But I can see all of their stuff. This works because they post a lot, and if I see that they're having problems with whatever the case may be, then I can work to make sure that if they ask for something, I can not answer or just ignore them altogether. Plus, it does give an open avenue for communication in the event of a major emergency. Plus, maybe I still hold on to a hope that they will maybe at some point in time actually apologize, but I don't see that ever being the case. I have been asked if my mum has ever apologized. No, she has not, and she never will. She's from a generation where parents don't apologize to their kids because that would mean they did something wrong. She's from a generation where kids were to be seen and not heard. I guess it comes down to this. My family has formed this dynamic that I will never be a part of or want to be a part of. And I'm okay with that. I was not asked to come to Thanksgiving or Christmas. I was told that I will be there. Why? I don't know. Then when I declined twice, things got ugly. Thank you all for your replies and support. And now on to the update. We had such a great day, just C and I. We had steaks on the grill, baked potatoes, steamed veggies, and a from-scratch pumpkin cheesecake. Tuesday and Wednesday, my mom and sister were tag-teaming my messenger all day, and until I reached my limit and finally answered my sister. She told me when they were planning on eating and that I needed to arrive earlier. I told her point blank that I was not coming to dinner. Out of my own curiosity, I felt like something was wrong, and I asked her why it was so important for me to come. They've been telling some family members that I was going to be at dinner and that everything was okay and that I was part of the family again. This is important because many people from both my mum and dad's family have had nothing to do with me, but they never completely approved of what my parents did to me. This was my breaking point. This put me over the edge, and I told them I was not going to cover for them, and that this was the end of all of it. It was their fault for creating this issue, and they will need to deal with it on their own. I told her that I was done and that to never contact me again. I ended the call and immediately blocked all communication. The level of anger that I have towards them is to a point I can't even describe it. But at the same time, I feel relief that they gave me a reason to terminate all communication with them. They are completely on their own. True to form, on Thanksgiving Day, C and I took showers and put on clean pajamas and watched movies all day, and then ate dinner. And then back in front of the TV. Before I end this, I wanted to thank all of you for your support and encouragement and kind words. Here's to a great holiday season. Ascensley says, not the a-hole. OP, holidays are a time for your family and your husband is your family. I'm happy for you that you finally cut off the toxic drama for good. Just because you share blood doesn't mean anything. Your family are the ones who show you love and support. Happy holidays and best of luck. Lunaliner321 says, I've recently cut off contact with all of my step-siblings. My stepsister, her husband, and my stepbrother's wife were friends on my Facebook. My stepbrother would never add me. They didn't talk to me or anything unless something bad happened. One day I got tired of it. I deleted all 3 of them, and it really felt amazing. I know they were only there to see what I was up to. They never talked to me when they were at my daughter's birthday parties. It was something that was long overdue, but it happened, and I'm so glad for that because it set me free. I knew the truth, it was just hard to accept it. Getting that taken care of felt great for me. I'm sure it felt good for you as well. Family isn't just people who have the same blood as you. I'm glad you and C had a great Thanksgiving, and I hope you both have a great Christmas as well. Posted by user ThrowRA British Mum, titled, Am I the a-hole for yelling at my brother? Throwaway for privacy reasons. Apologies in advance for any spelling and grammatical errors. I, 25 female, have been with my boyfriend, 30 male, for 8 months. I have a 9-year-old son. Yes, I know it sounds bad. I still get a lot of crap for it. I divorced my ex-husband last year, and I've happily moved on. Fast forward in the new year of 2020. I met my boyfriend, and he's been everything a girl could ever ask for. He's sweet, attentive to my wants and needs, and is an amazing father figure to my son. I introduced him to my family, and while they've initially had their reservations, they gradually accepted him with open arms. I'm the youngest of 4, with 3 older brothers, 36, 34, and 31, and the only girl. Unfortunately, we hit a rough patch 4 months ago. I found out I was pregnant but suffered a miscarriage. I'll admit I was an emotional wreck and utterly depressed. We grieved together, went through online therapy, and we managed to cope. Boyfriend has been my rock every step of the way and took on more responsibilities at home to lessen the burden. He even bought me a promise ring and told me he loved me and would never leave me despite my faults. Last month, my boyfriend was diagnosed with depression and has been seeing a therapist. He's been feeling emotionally drained, and since then, I've limited the number of chores he does, ask him to do yoga with me along with other family activities with my son, and remind him to take his meds on time. He grumbles a bit, but complies. I love my boyfriend, and I do see myself having a future with him. I just want him to feel better. Here's where the conflict began. With restrictions slowly easing, my parents and brothers started visiting us. After a long, exhausting day of cleaning the house and doing the laundry, I was in the kitchen cooking dinner. Everything was going great until my third older brother made a remark to my boyfriend at how I do more chores than he did and said aloud whether I was a personal maid, and boyfriend should contribute more as it's not fair for a single mum to do everything around the house while her man lazes about like her deadbeat ex. I yelled at my brother that my boyfriend does not laze about, and if he really did compare him to my ex, then he was being horrible. He said he didn't mean it. My son asked to be excused and left the dining room. Boyfriend followed suit. I told my brother if he wasn't going to apologize, then he should leave. He eventually did. I called Mum that I was going to limit contact with my brother, and my boyfriend did tell me that while he did appreciate me standing up for him, he said I should have at least told him why first. Now I felt bad because I shouldn't have cut the visit short and might have caused a rift in my family. I don't know what to do. My parents and brothers have sided with me, but other relatives are divided. Am I the a-hole? Oh, and a little FYI. I'm British, boyfriend is American. My family moved to the US when I was 12. To me, it doesn't sound at all like your brother didn't mean what he said. Honestly, that was a cheap shot that came out of nowhere, and if it's true that your boyfriend doesn't do any of those things that your brother spouted off, then I support you here, OP. Limiting contact is an acceptable thing to do in my opinion. He was in fact being horrible, and he refused to apologize, even leaving the house instead of doing so. Like, he's not sorry at all for what he said. He just wants to die on this hill, and I think you should let him. Ever the cringe comment, but you don't owe him, nor your parents or other relatives, a thing in this situation. If this situation, of all situations you find yourself in, causes a genuine rift in your family, then perhaps there's deeper trouble under the surface that you're not telling us about. Also, I don't know how your edit at the end of you being British and him being American changes anything here in this context, but thank you for telling me though, I guess. I'm gonna go with not the a-hole. And in the comments, Gallows Jack says, there's a lot to unpack here. However, not the a-hole. It sounds like your brother was a jerk. He should have pulled you aside to ask what was going on, rather than make the comment in front of your boyfriend. What kind of constructive ending did he think he was going to get with that? And OP replies, what saddens me is that normally he wasn't always like this when we were little. I'm still trying to understand why he said what he said to us that day. I mean, were there any hints of narcissism I didn't notice? I wouldn't try to diagnose him from that. My guess is that you already had a jerk once, and now the new guy was behaving jerk-like, which may explain why you reacted so strongly when his character was questioned. He probably thought he was being a good brother, but he didn't put enough brain into it. And OP replies again, I have no doubt that he thought his heart was in the right place. There was only so much I could fit in the post. Anything else, I'll try to answer or elaborate in the comments as best I can. Unsightly Fuzz says, not the a-hole. You couldn't explain the backstory to your brother without revealing your boyfriend's depression status, which violates his privacy. Yelling might have been over the top, But let's face it, you were between a rock and a hard place. Cinnamon Girl says not the a-hole. It seems that if your brother was genuinely concerned about the division of labor, he should talk to you alone. A public ambush never helps. In my honest opinion, if a person is in current treatment for depression and not in crisis, there is no reason for them to do less housekeeping chores. Structure is good for treatment, but insulting both of you in front of your son is not okay. Your brother accomplished zero with his tactics. He is your brother, and it seems that you could hash this out before you limit contacts. OP replies, I'll bring this up next time once things have cooled down. And To The Garbage 2 says, your brother sounds like an a-hole for bringing it up the way he did. If he had legitimate concerns about the relationship dynamic, there are way more constructive ways to do it. Your brother created an incendiary environment, and stuff got a little nuts. Make sure you're not being the a-hole with this line in the sand. Thank you for your input. I'll try my best to make myself clearer next time. And now to the update. So a lot has happened over the past month, and let me tell you, I wasn't expecting what had happened afterwards, so I'll recap what followed. Turns out, my brother saw my Reddit post and called me asking to speak to him. At first I didn't want to, but he's my older brother, and I agreed to at least hear him out. When I arrived at his apartment, he looked like an emotional wreck. He profusely apologized for the way he acted and has said he read some of the comments over and over, and slowly came to realize he said it the wrong way. He only wanted what he thought was best and begged me to not go no contact before hugging me. He said he'd never meant to put me in a tricky situation and swore he never knew my boyfriend was depressed until he saw the original post. To me, it felt like the older brother I've known since I was a little girl had come back. In a rush, we embraced more and reconciled. Yes, my family is a tight-knit bunch. Mum, Dad, and my other two brothers were pleased that we managed to patch things up, which was a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. As for my boyfriend, he's been showing some improvement and promised to pick up the slack some more regarding household chores so I wouldn't be stuck dealing with it. My son still doesn't like to talk about that day, but I'm sure he'll grow past it. We're looking for any available counseling sessions in our area to get our lives back on track before moving on to the next step, one step at a time. On Saturday the 17th of October, that was the day my world changed. My boyfriend called me over to the nearest beach by sunset and surprised me with the most beautiful ring I've ever seen. He got down on one knee, and the bloody fool literally proposed to me. I was not expecting that, but the setting was so perfect and I do love him dearly, so I said yes. We made it official in a Zoom call the following week, and my family was over the moon, sending us congratulatory messages and wondering if and when the wedding preparations would begin. I invited all my brothers to help, to which they'd be more than happy to help with. All in all, I'd say we ended things on a good note. Me and my brother have reconciled, and my boyfriend is now my fiancé. Thank you guys for your feedback, and for helping us grow closer than we were before. And in the comments, Baby Cakelings asks, this is great, but I hope you're not just going to pretend with your son this all never happened. OP replies, oh no, I'll have a little heart-to-heart and see how he's doing. We'll plan on seeking counseling and set up a support structure first before moving to the next phase. Although we're happy, my little boy remains top priority. Yeah, we're all concerned because in 2 whole posts, you've included 2 sentences about how your son is experiencing all of this. You focus and write a lot about the new boyfriend. In the original post, you say, so just got up and left. In this one, son still doesn't talk about that day, but I'm hoping he'll just grow out of it. Holy crap. Someone else asks, info, how does your son feel about this? He's gotten better once we slowly explained what happened. I still worry about how this will all affect him in the long term. Okay, good. It sounded like you were shoving it under the rug. However, I meant, how does he feel about you marrying someone else? It's kind of fast for getting a new stepfather. He's on the fence a bit, and he opens up about his potential stepdad one step at a time once he's comfortable enough. So far, they've been getting along well. My son knows he still remains my top priority. Okay, good. Good luck with everything. And Free for Laugh Felon says, happy for you, but please be diligent about your birth control. You already got pregnant as a teen and got pregnant again to a man you have not yet known a year. There's nothing wrong with taking things slow. After my miscarriage, I thought it would be best if I go on birth control until we were at our best. As for the engagement, it'll be long term. Not a quick one, so we have more time to assess our strengths and weaknesses. Plus, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. We're in no rush. G'day there guys, and that's the end of today's episode. I do hope you enjoyed it and were entertained by today's bloody good content. As always, I want to do a quick shout out and a thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your beautiful faces and names will be up on screen right now. Haven't forgot about you guys, sorry I was taking a little break there. So yeah, if you see yourself, give yourself a pat on the back. If you want to be on this screen, there's links down to the description below where you can sign up and help support the channel and all future projects that I'm going to be doing on this one. With all that said, I hope you guys have an amazing day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to. I'll see you in the next episode, and I do hope you enjoy it. Thank you.